Hello, my name is Chris Aquavella and I am the director of the San Diego Classical Mandolin Camp. This year marks the 5th anniversary of SD CMC. Each year has been absolutely remarkable with fantastic guest artists from around the world and wonderfully dedicated students who soak up every moment of the SD CMC experience. As always, we are very excited about this year's upcoming gathering in San Diego, California. The San Diego Classical Mandolin Camp explores the depth and breadth of the classical mandolin, from Baroque to modern times, through 5 days of intensive classes, ensemble rehearsals, and concerts. SD CMC strives to create a fun and educational musical experience for mandolinists of all ages and abilities. Instructors will lead students through a journey of classical mandolin repertoire, history, technique, ornamentation, and ensemble playing. Let's take a look at the 2016 SD CMC. This year I'll be teaching 2 classes and conducting 1 orchestral work. My first class is called Ornamentation Through the Eyes of Ferdinando de Cristofaro. It is not likely that anybody could question the necessity for ornaments. They are found everywhere in music and are not only useful but indispensable. A mediocre composition can be made attractive with the aid of ornamentation, and the best melody without them may seem obscure and meaningless. In past years, I have focused on the teachings of 18th century instructors Leone, Denis, and Gervasio. This class will cover the teachings of ornamentation by Ferdinando de Cristofaro in the 1880s. His 1884 method for mandolin was one of the most popular methods and was in its 12th edition by the time of his death in 1890. We will learn various ornaments and apply them to music examples. My second class is 18th century music of Michel Coretti. French organist, composer, and author of musical method books, Michel Coretti was by far the most educated musician to produce a method for the mandolin in the 18th century. Aside from playing the organ and composing, Coretti organized concerts and taught music in Paris. He wrote nearly 20 music method books for various instruments, including the violin, cello, bass, flute, recorder, bassoon, harpsichord, harp, and of course the mandolin. These pedagogical works by Coretti are valuable because they give lucid insight into contemporary playing techniques, at least for the 18th century. This class will look at Michel Coretti's 1772 mandolin method, as well as his ensemble music, talking about ornamentation and right-hand techniques of the period as taught by Coretti. My orchestral selection is Utuma for Mandolin Orchestra. This is one of my proudest compositions and is a mixture of American minimalism and traditional Bulgarian folk music. We are so pleased to have French virtuoso Julian Martineau as our guest instructor from Europe. He graduated from the Université de la Sorbonne in Paris with a master's degree in musicology. Julian Martineau has performed as a soloist in prominent concert halls and at numerous prestigious music festivals. He has performed with many orchestras, including the Metropolitan Orchestra of Lisbon, the Orchestra de Chambre of Toulouse, and the Ensemble Baroque of Toulouse. He is a regular participant in the musical seasons of the Théâtre du Capitole de Toulouse, the Opéra de Paris, and the Opéra de Lyon, Radio France, and the Swiss Romanda in Geneva, amongst others. In 2005, Julian Martineau joined the staff of the Conservatory in Toulouse as a professor of mandolin. His latest recording in 2013 is Rafael Calachi's Preludes for Solo Mandolin. The SD CMC staff is excited to welcome this incredible musician and teacher to sunny San Diego in July 2016. Julian will be teaching 2 classes and conducting 1 orchestral work with the SD CMC ensemble. Julian's first class is Vivaldi's Concertos for Solo Mandolin. The most famous works for mandolin are an inexhaustible source of questioning. What tempo, what ornamentation, how to play melodic harmonic passages, etc. Julian Martineau will show you the way to get the most out of this fantastic repertoire. His second class is Rafael Calachi, from Neapolitan Classics to Preludes for Solo Mandolin. Rafael Calachi developed his preludes as an innovative polyphony for the mandolin. Choral passages on 3 and 4 strings, accompanied melodies, arpeggios in the highest ranges, and both right and left-hand pizzicato. Nevertheless, we do not sense this as a prestigious display of skill. Each passage serves a musical purpose we can find in his easier Neapolitan pieces. This class will aim to introduce this delightful repertoire to you. And Julian's orchestral selection is Momento Lirico by Raffaele Calace, a delightfully romantic lyrical piece for mandolin orchestra by the great Neapolitan composer. Another great addition to this year's artistic staff is returning SD CMC artist, Dr. Stephanie Aquavella Rauch. Stephanie has been performing as a soloist and with several ensembles around the world for over 15 years. She is one part of Centaur Records recording artist duo Aquavella and a member of the World Music Ensemble Vinarosso. As a regular guest at various international courses, she teaches the mandolin and the mandola as well as music history. She studied mandolin under the instruction of Keith Harris and is the musical director of the Ensemble Spatlese, a state orchestra of the Pluck-String Federation of the German state of Hesse that is especially for citizens of the 50-plus generation. Apart from being a classical mandolinist, Dr. Stephanie Aquavella Rauch is a professor at the Johannes Gutenberg Universität Mainz and the Akademie der Wissenschaften und der Literatur in Mainz, Germany. Here at the SD CMC, we don't just want you to learn about technique, but also about classical mandolin repertoire and its history. All aspects coming together to help you become a better musician, not just a mandolinist. Dr. Stephanie Aquavella Rauch is the best in the business when it comes to combining musicology and the mandolin. Stephanie will be teaching 2 classes and conducting 1 orchestral piece with the SD CMC ensemble. Her first class is Kubota, Symphonic Music for Mandolin Orchestra. In this class, we will focus on the music of a very special musician who has made several contributions to the mandolin world, Takashi Kubota. He is not only a very fine composer who brought composing for Pluck-String Orchestra to a whole new level, he is also a gifted conductor and educator. For the past 30 years, he has dedicated himself to creating a new sound for mandolin orchestra. We will learn about this vision and get to know some of his most prominent compositions. An important part of this class will be trying out some of his music for yourself and experiencing his approach to tremolo. Stephanie's second class is Volki and Ambrosius, pioneers for the mandolin in the 1930s. As classical mandolin players, you are probably very familiar with the music by Conrad Volki and Hermann Ambrosius. In this class, we will learn about their style of writing and their way of adapting and creating certain mandolin techniques, which we will try out ourselves. All of this, however, has a very particular background that we will have to also talk about. Volki and Ambrosius were both very active during the German 1930s, especially after the National Socialists took over power. They were both engaged with the so-called Reichsmusikkammer during the Third Reich and combined their ideas of proper mandolin music with the general political lines. This is by itself an interesting contribution to the history of the mandolin, but we will also learn that their style did influence generations of composers and players after the Second World War. Stephanie's orchestral selection is the first and second movements from Music for Play by Claudio Mondanico. There will be plenty to learn, but most importantly, we want everyone to enjoy their time with us in sunny San Diego, California. The SDCMC will once again be hosted at the centrally located and tropically inspired Crown Plaza Hotel. This year's camp will be from July 25th to July 31st. It will be 5 full days of classes, rehearsals, concerts, and enjoying each other's company. Classes start early Tuesday morning with the final concert and goodbye party on Saturday evening. At SDCMC, we have a friendly and supportive atmosphere, ideal for learning, creating, and sharing music together, as well as enjoying Taco Tuesdays. Each evening, there will be a featured artist concert, with the final evening culminating with the SDCMC Orchestra performance. Every year, the SDCMC like to feature a non-mandolin classical ensemble. This year, we are proud to present the delightful early music ensemble Kensington Baroque Orchestra. For more information on the 2016 San Diego Classical Mandolin Camp, please check out our website at www.sandiegoclassicalmandolincamp.com. We hope to see you there.